For today's episode, we have yet another Bowie State Sports Talk award show. Who won the MVP? Who won the most improved player? Who won Sixth Man of the Year? Who won Defensive Player of the Year? How did the bowling team do in the CIAA playoffs? Did they make it to 8 straight finals? Did they finally get another W against Bowie State after losing last year? Find out in 40 seconds. Stay tuned. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Bowie State Sports Talk. I am your host, Yellen Sams, and we got a jam-packed episode today, starting off with the Women's Basketball Award Show. So, this award show will consist of Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Valuable Player of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Most Improved Player of the Year, and maybe Clutch Player of the Year. Rookie of the Year is left off due to no rookie getting much playing time. I was hoping to talk to Coach about that. I was going to do an interview with her before this episode, but she didn't show up. Not the first time it happened to me. First it happened to me with Montana, not a coach. But it's all good. Let's start off. Let's start off with the Defensive Player of the Year. Once and again, This award is left blank like the Rookie of the Year, not because nobody was playing defense, but because I was hoping the coach cut me up with this one. She's seen the players play with her own eyes. She knows them better than I do. So I left this one blank, hoping that during the interview, I would get her answer. Her answer would be my answer. But the interview didn't happen. So off the top of my head, Defensive Player of the Year is most definitely between Sanaa Jackson, Anaya Harris, and Odion. Odion, she led the team in defensive rebounds and rebounds in general, coming off of the bench. Not only that, there's many times this season I've seen her guard the primary ball handler, and do a good job stopping them, clapping her hands, playing lockdown defense as a small forward, as a big. That's why she's in the contention. Anaya Harris, she led the team in steals this year. That's why she's in contention. And Sanaa Jackson, she led the team in blocks this season. That's why she's in contention. So it's down between those three. And it's tough. Like I said, this is really how I want the coach to help me decide who's going to win. But I'm going to give it to Odion. So like I said, it's been many times this season I've seen her guard the primary ball handler. And not only that, she's coming off the bench, leading the team in defensive rebounds and rebounds in general, if I'm not mistaken. That's impressive. So Defensive Player of the Year goes to Odion. Next, we got Sixth Man of the Year, and it's easily Maya Smith. She played 23 games this season, only started 6. Well, it wasn't really easy because Odion, she was in contention for this one as well. But Maya Smith, I don't know if it's Mia Smith or Maya Smith. I'm gonna say Maya Smith. She recorded 6 double-digit point games off the bench. She had 32 steals this season, and her performance in the fourth quarter against Bowie State basically locked this award up for her, where she scored like 12 points, 12 of her 14 points in the fourth quarter to win the game against Bowie State, 70-63. That performance in the fourth quarter basically secured this award for her, and she also scored 6 points in the final 2 minutes in the 58-54 win against Virginia Union. So those 2 games most definitely help her secure this award. Next up, you got these 2 awards going to be quick because I already talked about them last episode, but whatever. Most Improved Player of the Year, Anaya Harris. I told y'all last episode, so I don't have much to say. And the MVP of this season goes to, honestly, no drum roll even needed. If you've been watching the show since last episode, or you never watched the show, but you have watched the women's games, You know who the MVP of this season is. MVP of this season, once again, is easily Anai Harris. 19.5 points per game. The most points per game in the CIAA this season. I basically said everything that I needed to say last episode, so go rewatch the last episode. So, next, we got bowling. Bowling team finished the regular season 43-5 and claimed the Northern Division title for the 9th consecutive season. They went 10-2 at the final CIAA regular event in the regular season. Now, Virginia Union, keep that team in mind as I talk to you about this event. They beat us, they've been on one this season. They beat Bowie 2 times in the CIAA event that took place where Bowie State went 10-2. Both of those losses came to Virginia Union. And this season in total, Virginia Union in the regular season gave Bowie State 3 of their 5 losses. Keep that in mind because that will be very important later on. Now, for those of you that do not remember, BSU, the bowling team here, has won 7 out of the last 10 conference championships. They made 7 straight appearances from 2015 to 2023 and won 6 straight. That's when they won as well in 2013. They lost last season to Fiasco State. So they've been absolutely dominating the CIAA for the previous 7 and 8 seasons. Like I said, I talked to y'all about that last year, but that's just a quick recap if y'all didn't remember. But before we get to the playoffs recap, let's give a quick shout out to the regular season award winners, starting off with Cameron Smith, once and again, won Rookie of the Month. For March, she averaged 177.75 pins, and she had a high game of 222. Most importantly, and more impressively, she made the All-CIAA bowling team alongside 2 other teammates, Chanella Gray and Tavera Johnson. Now, to the playoffs. Day 1 of the 2024 playoffs for the bowling team, the 2nd-seeded Bulldogs faced the 7th-seeded Shaw University. The Bulldogs cruised through that game. They won that easily 4-1. Then they faced Johnson C. Smith, Elizabeth City, and Livingstone on day 2. Once and again, they won those games. Now flash forward to that's in day 1. Flash forward to day 2. Day 2 is where things got tough. They started off with the loss to no other than Virginia Union. That's why I said keep that team in mind. Bulldogs cruised through day 1, went to day 2 of the playoffs, and lost to Virginia Union. They dropped down to the losers bracket. In the losers bracket, the Bulldogs, they beat Johnson C. Smith and Livingstone again. And can y'all guess who else came in the losers bracket alongside with the Bulldogs? And the Bulldogs faced this team next. Virginia Union. Yep. Virginia Union, they lost to Fiasco State. They got dropped down to the losers bracket alongside with the Bulldogs. So in the losers bracket, in order to go to the championship game, we got the Bulldogs versus Virginia Union. The Bulldogs got swept 0-4. Virginia Union went on to face Fiasco State in the finals. Fiasco State won the finals. They won 2 times in a row. And I knew Virginia Union was going to be an issue in the playoffs when they beat us so many times in the regular season. I knew it. And quick shout out to Virginia Union. They literally took everybody by surprise. They were predicted 5th. They were predicted to finish 5th in the CIAA before the season started. In the preseason polls and the preseason votes, CIAA predicted them to finish 5th. They ended up finishing 3rd, having the 3rd best record behind the Bulldogs and the Broncos, and ended up knocking the Bulldogs out of the playoffs twice. The first time they knocked us into the loser bracket. The second time they knocked us completely out of the playoffs. So big shout out to Virginia Union. They did their thing this season. They took everybody by surprise. But back to the Bulldogs. I take a look at the season averages. And Chanella Gray, she bowled 25 games, knocked down 4,362 pins. That's an average of 174.48 pins per game. That's the 2nd highest average in the CIAA. Javera Johnson bowled 35 games, knocked down 6,068 pins. That's an average of 173, the third highest in the CIAA. Rookie Cameron Smith. Can we give her a round of applause right quick, man? She's a freshman. She won Rookie of the Month like 12 months this time. She won Rookie of the Year. And she was the only rookie / freshman to crack the top 15 highest average in the CIAA. She landed at number 10 with 33 games played, knocked down 5,422 pins, which is an average of 164 per game. She's a freshman doing this. A freshman. She have at least 3 more seasons left. Call me delusional, but I can see her being up there like top 5 through 1 top scorers in the CIAA by the time her junior year come. Maybe even next year, her sophomore year, I can see her cracking the top 5. You heard it here first. So when she cracked the top 5, don't say I didn't tell y'all. And the last Bulldog to make the top 15 list landed at number 15 to be exact. It was Olivia Watts. She bowled 26 games, knocked down 4,068 pins, which is an average of 156. So tough season for the Bulldogs. They did good in the regular season against every team I named. Virginia Union. Playoffs came around. They just couldn't figure out how to beat Virginia Union. Simple as that. Tough season for them. Tough season. The softball team is off to a terrible start. 9-17. But to be fair, majority of those losses came to non-CIAA teams. I don't think that's a valid excuse, but I'm gonna give it to them because that they're still playing Division II schools. If you win the CIAA championship and you want to make it far into the NCAA championship, you have to beat these Division II schools. You can't just beat the CIAA and lose to other D2 schools. You got to beat everybody. Because the NCAA championship tournament isn't just CIAA teams. It's every conference in Division II. They need to get that together, tighten up. You try to tighten that up. But they took on West Liberty a few Thursdays ago. Not last Thursday, but the Thursday before that, directly before spring break. And this was the first time these two teams faced off since 2015. It was a doubleheader. The first game, the Bulldogs lost 5-8. They got out to a good start. They scored 2 runs in the first inning, 2 in the second inning. They also gave up 4 runs in the first inning and 2 in the second inning. That's when West Liberty, they went off in the 6th inning to win the game 8-5. Now the second game is where the really began. Was the best part because I made it to the second game. For the first game, I was at the gym. That's why I made it to the second game a little late, but I made it. And it was at the bottom of the 3rd inning. What's sad about this is that there was more West Liberty fans than Bowie State fans. Keep in mind, folks, this is a home game for Bowie State. We are on Bowie State campus. I don't know how many students we have, but we have enough students here that could have showed up to fan the West Liberty fans. There was more West Liberty fans in the stands than there was Bowie State fans. And that's pretty sad. But look, I was there. I was making some noise for my team. I was cheering them up. I don't know if they heard me, but I heard myself, and the fans definitely heard me. Oh, yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that. We'll take that. All the way. We'll take that again. We'll take that. Get him out of here, coach. Right. So when Lindsey George went up to the base, I started recording. And I told the fan next to me, hey, watch this. She better hit a home run. Watch. And what she do? Hit a home run.
And that's a home run by number 14, Lindsey George.
That was legitness. Come on now. I know her. She a dog. That's why like she saw me show up. She said, I got put on the show. That's why I started recording. I'm lying. She didn't say that. But y'all get the point. I lead to the fan beside me. That's a West Liberty fan. She about to hit her home run. Started recording. She hit her home run. I guess I got to show up the game for them to start showing out. I see how it is now. But although Bulldogs lost both games, it was fun to be there as a fan. Talking smack to the opposing teams, their fans and parents. Talking smack to them every time the Bulldogs made a play, defensively or offensively. I was in the stands talking smack. You hear me? And I said this last season. The best thing about being at those games is hearing the players cheer chants. So of course they was doing that. Of course they was doing that this game. And even the fans of the opposing team, West Liberty, they enjoyed the Bulldogs cheers. But what hit me very hard was hearing the opposing fan, like a fan of the opposing team. They said they're doing a lot of cheering for a team who just gave us our first win. I was like, huh? So I went home after the game to check West Liberty record. And boy, oh boy, I wish those fans were lying. West Liberty was 0-10 before they played the Bulldogs. 0-10. West Liberty walked out of those two games on Thursday, 2-10. The Bulldogs gave West Liberty their first win of the season. Like I said, I wish those fans was lying, but they definitely was not lying. That's when last time I checked, West Liberty was 2-12, but I checked that like a few Thursdays ago. They're probably like 2-27 right now. We probably still the only team that they beat. That sucks, man. That hurt my heart right there. It sucks that they got their only win in their first win of the season against us. That was terrible. But what was even more terrible is the fact that the Bulldogs went on to lose their next 4 games, including a tough loss, a blowout loss, 11-2 at home against Bloomsburg. But on a good note, Braxton, she was named Rookie of the Week again. Shout out to her. But it don't really matter because we lost those games. But the real schedule began on March 25th as they started playing in the CIAA teams at the CIAA Roundup in North Carolina, where they went 6-1. There's no footage for these games because it was on Elizabeth City home field, and they only recorded games that Elizabeth City played in which the Bulldogs did not play Elizabeth City. So there's no films. I only saw clips, Instagram clips on video clips on Instagram stories and whatnot. So bear with me. The first game they played Winston-Salem State. They beat them 6-1. The Bulldogs scored 5 of those runs in the third inning. Kira Pullins, she threw 8 strikeouts. That's her career high. Previously, it was 7 strikeouts. She gave up 5 hits and 1 run. After that game, they went on to face Johnson C. Smith, 13-1. They went on to face Johnson C. Smith, and they won that game 13-1. The highlight of this game was in the very last inning. Once and again, Lindsey George at bat, Sydney Edmond on second base. And what Lindsey do? Lindsey did what she do best. Hit her second home run of the season to put the Bulldogs on top, 13-1. 13-1. Also in the second inning, my dog, Jakaya Watkins, she got a triple, and that triple led to 1 RBI. Overall in this game, she went 3 for 3. She was at bat 3 times. She got 3 hits and 2 runs. Also 1 RBI. Lindsey George, she went 3 for 3 as well. At bat 3 times, got 3 hits, got run, and 5 RBIs. The Bulldogs then took on Livingstone, and unsurprisingly, if you've been watching the show since last year, you should know this. The Bulldogs absolutely demolished them, 15-0. Now, trivia game. Can you guess what the Bulldogs' all-time record is against Livingstone in softball? It's 15. The Bulldogs are 15-0 against Livingstone. That's crazy. They got a 15-0 win in order to be 15-0 against Livingstone all time. Okay, maybe that's just crazy to me. I don't know if it's crazy to y'all, but that's crazy to me, right? What's also crazy to me is that 2 Bulldogs hit a home run in this game. Both of them came in the first inning. Kira Pullins, that's when shortly after her, Jayla Hill, she hit a home run as well. I'm glad to see Jayla Hill came alive again because she was struggling offensively this season. She did her thing defensively as she won Defensive Player of the Week earlier this season, but she was struggling, having a pretty quiet season offensively. But she came alive this game. She was at base 3 times, got 3 hits, got 3 runs, and 2 RBIs, and most importantly, the one home run. Last year, that was my MVP of the season. If she can get back on track, she can be back-to-back MVP on my award show. The Bulldogs only allowed 1 hit this game. Allowing 1 hit the whole game is crazy. 1 hit, not 1 home run, just 1 hit in general. That's nuts. But the next game was a big game. Huge game. A game I have circled on my calendar to see. Like I said, I couldn't watch it because Elizabeth City State didn't record it. But it's a rematch of the 2022 CIAA championship and the 2023 CIAA championship. The Bulldogs against Shaw University. But this was really no match. The Bulldogs, they cruised through this game, got an easy dub, 5-0. The story of this game, actually the story of the whole week, if you ask me, was Lindsey George, once and again. I swear, she steals this show. Her and Anai Harris, they always steal the show. But Lindsey George, she threw 13 strikeouts this game. 13 strikeouts. That's the most strikeouts a pitcher ever threw since 2022 in a single game. That blasted her career high. Last year she had 9 strikeouts. I forgot against what team it was, but this game she threw 13 strikeouts. Her career high and the most in the CIAA since 2022. Next, the Bulldogs played the Broncos and lost 4-6. That's when yesterday they played another game. I want to say it was against Claflin this time, and they won. I forgot the score, nor do I have the stats, but they won that game. Speaking of winning, that's something I haven't been doing recently, because boy oh boy, my restaurants, my favorite restaurants has been going downhill, man. Downhill. Starting with KFC. I used to get the 24-piece honey barbecue wings. Yes, I got 24 pieces. And yes, I ate it all in one sitting. What you gonna do about it? Nothing. Next thing you know, they got rid of that. Subway. I used to love the chicken breast. Chicken breast foot long. I used to get that almost every day. Okay, not every day, but y'all get the point. And what they do, got rid of it. Or I used to get a salad with chicken breast. And what they do, got rid of the chicken breast. And lastly, last but not least, Genghis Grill. My favorite restaurant of all time. It's not a fast food restaurant like KFC and Subway. It's a sit-down restaurant. My number one. I loved it with all my heart. At first, it was in Quality 2 or 3 years ago. It got shut down. And the next one I was closest was out in Virginia. So my parents didn't really want to drive to Virginia. So I barely went. I didn't have a car. But once I got a car, I started going there at least once every 2 months or so. I tried to go during spring break. I drove all the way to Virginia. And guess what? That thing was closed down. Shut down permanently. I don't get it, man. I don't. Every time I fall in love with a restaurant, they change something that I like, or they shut down. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. And the next closest one that's out there in Virginia is a 30-mile drive from my house. So that's 30 miles there and back. And it's an hour away from the one that's already in Virginia. That's how far away the next one is. It's oh my goodness, man. I pulled up to the place. The first sign that I saw was that there was no text on the building. The lights were off and the chairs were up. They were on the table. The restaurant opened at 11 o'clock. It was 11:10. So I work at a fast food restaurant, and I get that they're not gonna open all the time on time. I was like, okay, cool. Maybe they're still, maybe they're still in there cooking, cleaning up, doing this, that, and the third. I gave it a few minutes. I walked to the door. I didn't see nobody in. I didn't even walk fully to the door. I walked towards the building. I didn't see anybody inside. The lights were still off. The chairs were still up. I looked it up on Google. and it said permanently closed. I almost started crying, man. Like, that is my restaurant. Not only that, but I drove like it's in Virginia. It's a far drive. I drove so far to get there, just for it to be shut down. I was hurt, man. I was hurt. But the thing about Subway is that at least I found something else. Like, at least it didn't close down. I found something else that's good enough to not really replace the chicken breast, but good enough to keep me coming back. Number one is the turkey salad, and number two is steak and cheese. Like, those keep me coming back to Subway. They're not as good as the chicken breast, but they keep me coming back. KFC, I don't even go there anymore. Nothing can replace the honey barbecue wings, but at least they're still open. Genghis Grill is shut down. Like, for what? Then again, every time I went there, it was like nobody. I was like the only one there. Maybe they didn't have any consistent business and they ran out of money. But golly, man. Always my favorite restaurants. Always. Did I say earlier it was 60 miles from my house? No, it was 30 miles. So the restaurant, the next closest Genghis Grill in Virginia, is 30 miles away from the one that got shut down. From my house, it's 127 miles away. The next closest Genghis Grill to my house is 127 miles away. And that's just getting there. That's not getting there and back. There's only a few things I can see myself driving 127 miles for. And the restaurant is not one of them. But what one of them is, driving 127 miles for, is to go see some family. Some close family, should I say. Not just a random family member, some close family. Like, I plan on driving 6 hours to go see my brother this summer. Hopefully they got a Genghis Grill down there where he stay at. If they don't, I'm gonna be heartbroken. But I mean, like, a Genghis Grill that's close by to his house. I don't mean like 17 hours away from his house, cause he live in a bigger state than Virginia and Maryland. So, like, it can be in his state, but it can be like a 3-hour drive to get there. I ain't doing that. Hopefully he got a Genghis Grill close to his house. But I plan on driving down there to where he at this summer, staying there for a week and coming back. That's the plan. Hopefully they got a Genghis Grill down there. And really, what would I drive 127 miles for? Would I do it for a concert? I don't think I would. Like, let's say that Bruno Mars came down to Virginia for once in a lifetime. Like, his first only time ever coming down here. Would I go that far to see Bruno Mars? If he allows cell phones to be out, I probably would. But if he have us put our cell phones in like a Ziploc bag and give it to security, nah. Plus, it depends on the price of the tickets. And what I'm saying that. So the answer is probably, to be honest, is no. I walk with Bruno Mars, but him like taking our cell phones during the concert and the price of a ticket, and that made me. Yeah, I don't think I would drive that far for anything other than seeing family. Okay, a new job, of course, but seeing family and a new job, that's about it. And that's about it for this episode. I appreciate y'all for watching. You know, I was about to have an interview today, but she didn't show up. It's all cool. Nobody ever shows up for me. I'm used to it. I'm your host, Jalen Sims. Have a great rest of your day. See y'all next Thursday. Peace.